What is up, everyone? It's Joe from Get Good Drums. If you are in our Facebook forum, which you can find at facebook.com/groups/ggd forum, you would have seen me post a clip of this mix I've been working on. And I asked people in the forum if they wanted me to do a video showing you how I've mixed it. People said yes. So here we are. It's a different song, because the mix I posted on the forum was something I put together using Apple loops, just the loops that come with Logic, which are really good, by the way. But then I remembered this old sort of drum and bass, piano-based thing I wrote probably over a year ago now, and thought it could be cool on that. But the gist of it is that I've used Modern Fusion and Aggressive Rock, both One Hit Wonder libraries, to make a drum and bass mix. I'm personally a really big fan of EDM drum and bass, house, electro house, etc., etc., and really enjoy trying to see how I can use GGD products in those contexts. I recently discovered a very specific plugin which is pretty sick at helping you get some of the kind of tones you want for this genre, but I've also shown in this how to get very similar effects without using that specific plugin, because it is a paid plugin. So I've shown you how you can kind of do it with plugins you're more likely to just have by default. But enough talking. Here is the mix. You get the idea. So for this, it's kind of quite inspired by kind of tones you find, a drummer called KJ Sorka, for one. He's had some videos, he's got some videos on YouTube where the tones in this kind of remind me of that. And so I was kind of pulling from that. But also bands like, or producers, I should say, like Grey, Noisier, Zed, Chainsmokers, their production's amazing. Kind of pulling that kind of idea into this. But anyways, let's just solo the drums and I'll show you what's going on. So this is the mix I've got going on. Just these channels here. And you can see there's actually not that much for how processed they sound. There's really not much going on. And part of that has to do with the fact that the One Hit Wonder samples are already pre-processed to be mix ready. If I wasn't using a library from the One Hit Wonder series and one of our other libraries, I'd have to do all that processing before I get to the processing, which makes it kind of fit into this kind of genre, which would mean a way harder CPU load, a lot more plugins, a lot longer time, and more faff. So using the One Hit Wonder series for this kind of manipulation is just fantastic, and it takes a load of work off the plate. So for the kick, I am using Aggressive Rock. You can see here, I've pulled down the overheads, mono, and room. I don't want much ambience at all for this. Going for that kind of synthesized sound. I just want a nice close sound. Then the next thing I've done is put it into a transient designer. I've pulled down a lot of the sustain. For this, I kind of don't want a bloomy low end. I want it nice and punchy and short. So I'll just A-B that. Let's take off the rest of the processing for now. So that's on, then off. Just takes off some of that sustain. I could probably pull it further, to be honest, listening to it in isolation. Yeah, I'd take it that far down. Now, this next plugin is kind of some secret sauce. It's disperser by a company called Kilohertz. It basically makes things sound synthesized, electronic. I'll show you what it does. It's really sick on the snare. So that's off, then on. Makes it sound super beefy. And you can see how little I've got it on here. If I put it up, things get pretty crazy. You can make it really weird and pronounced. I don't really know what it's doing. Something to the phase and the sustain. Then I've just got a channel EQ to pull down some of that high end and to cut some of the subs out again. It gives a little bit of a boxier sound, but I kind of like that. Just makes it sound a bit more processed and synthesized. And then I've just got a bus running into smash and grab on the parallel setting, just giving me some parallel compression. As you can see, not really doing much on the kick, but if I take it off, you can just hear it's bringing out some of the sustain again and bringing some more presence to it. Now, onto the snare. Again, well, let me show you what it sounds like. So I've got these two grayed out plugins here, which means they're not engaged. That's because I wanted to show you how to create a similar effect without this disperser plugin in case you don't have it. But I'll start with it on. And I'll turn all the processing off. So you can hear, even with no processing, we're pretty close already. And a huge, well, the reason for that is that I have tuned this library up 7 semitones here. Obviously, without that. And then tuning that up. Obviously sounds completely different, and it sounds kind of fake when you push the tuner that hard, right? I mean, it actually sounds pretty good, but just like a smaller snare. As like aggressive rock, I pull down the overheads in room. Then we're running this into a transient designer again. Again, taking off the sustain. Then into smash and grab. I'm running it on the standard setting because I get scared of lots of other settings on the snare drum type. And we're just pulling like -3. Got some tape saturation here just to sort of tame the transient a tad. Just making it a bit flatter, but also like accentuating the transient a little bit. Then we've got this disperser plugin again. That's off. Just gives it a kind of squish and a bit of like a laser sound. Like, I don't know. It sounds like a laser gun. You can hear what I'm saying. So I've pushed the amount further on this one. So that's with, without, with. Just makes it sound a bit more synthesized. And then running into my parallel compression again. So now I just want to show you what you can do if you don't have this disperser plugin. So I'm going to get rid of it. First thing I did, well, I'll show you what it sounds like first. So I'm going to put on, I've got a second transient designer after smash and grab and another EQ after the first transient designer. Now it doesn't sound exactly the same, but in a mix it gets you pretty far. So I've boosted some of the boxiness. It's interesting in like modern music, we want to try and get rid of a lot of the boxiness, and I'd say that's true in EDM too. But when I was messing around with these acoustic samples, I found pushing that and then compressing it gave it some of that kind of synthesized quality. And then going into the transient design, I'm actually boosting some of the sustain back. And that might be kind of odd because I've taken it away in the first one. But the first one's taking away sustain of the unprocessed sample. And then the second one, because it's going through an EQ, then a compressor, it's then bringing up the sustain of the processed sample. So it sounds slightly different. And I liked that. So you can get a really similar sound by using that technique. I'll show you it in context. You can hear how that sounds great as well. I'm also pulling off some of the high end and the low end just to try and accentuate this 300 hertz boost a bit. So I'll A/B the or on off the EQ in the mix so you can hear what it's doing. Okay, sounding good to me. I'll change it back to the disperser because it's kind of a secret love of mine. Now for the toms, for this I'm using One Kit Wonder Metal. Again, I've taken away the overhead and rooms. And I've boosted them up by 6 semitones. So let's just, oops. Again, the tuning them up does a lot of the heavy lifting for this. I'm not using a disperser on this, so we can yeet that out the window. Again, transient designer killing some of the sustain, smash and grab on the toms. What happens if we pull that further? You know what? I'm going to try this on smash and see what happens. Let's boost the tuning a bit. Let's try 8 semitones. Yeah, I prefer that. So we've changed it to smash. I was thinking before, actually, it was a bit transient-y, the toms. So obviously changing it to smash helps deal with that because it's a different compression style. We're still taking out some of the sustain. Then for my EQ, we are killing the high end a bit and decimating the low end, really. I don't want them to be too dominant in the mix. They're more like a percussion effect in this, I guess. So that's kind of why I've done that. And then I added it just then, some parallel compression. going to go in and deal with some of the clickiness a bit. It's a bit too clicky for me. Yeah, I like that. And then lastly, we've got the cymbals. Let's just focus on this section because we've just got some simple stuff going on. So for this, I'm using Modern Fusion. I've taken out the room. Obviously, I'm keeping in the overheads because I want the cymbals. I've tuned it up 5 semitones. What are we doing here? So again, I'm killing some of the sustain. When you listen to like EDM, the cymbals are quite, apart from like the long crashes and stuff, the hi-hats are quite often like maybe bit crushed a bit or distorted, and they're quite choppy. So I'm trying to recreate that a bit without it. It actually helps it sound a bit more like a direct microphone and take out some of the room sound. That's what I'm hearing. And off. And on. And off. So now we're going into FabFilter Saturn, which is a multi-band saturation or distortion plugin. I've got it on warm and clean tape. This I've brought down. So I've split this at, let's call it 600 hertz, just into 2 bands. If you're not familiar with this plugin, it's awesome. And you can apply, basically, you split it into the signal into bands, and then you can apply these different distortion effects. For the bottom one, I've got it on warm tape at 22%. And then this one, I've got it on clean tape at 95, let's call it 100. And I've pulled down this third band, this is EQ here, by 2 decibels. So I'll just show you what this is doing. That's on and off. And on. Off. So it's making it significantly louder, but it's also giving it a bit of crispiness in the top end, which I like. If I pull this back, it's kind of bringing it closer to you. It's helping achieve that kind of direct microphone sound. And yeah, it's adding some crispiness, which I really like. And that's it. So I actually haven't done that much. It's kind of relying on the same ideas and techniques across all the different drum parts. And the key really is using that tuning function in Contact. You can really get pretty far with just doing that. So I hope this may have sparked some creative ideas in you. You know, I'm well aware that maybe not all of our viewership is into like EDM and stuff, but you can use these ideas and techniques to create all sorts of really cool sound design and production elements for your mixes. I can see like these ideas kind of fitting into all sorts of genres, even if it's just for like cool transition effects or something. You could easily fit these kind of techniques into your productions and really spice them up and create something a bit unique. As I said at the beginning of the video, please hop over to our forum at facebook.com/group/GGD forum. So I hope to see you there. And as always, I will catch you soon.